What up, Whiskey Ginger fans? Welcome back to the show. Your first time joining us, welcome to the show. Tell a friend, spread the word. If you're on the YouTubes, hit subscribe, click the notification bell so you can keep updated on what's going on over here. We post every single Friday. All right? We don't be missing. We show up. So you should show up, and please spread the word and let people know. It helps us out. Continue this. If you're looking for some merch and you're on YouTube, look down below. There's a merch bar. Click on a shirt, a hat, a rocks glass, a sweater, whatever you're trying to pick up for yourself or a loved one. If you're looking for more content in the Whiskey Ginger world, I do solo pods called Cheeto Chats on our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Whiskey Ginger Podcast. That's where you can find all that good jazz. Enough rambling from me. Let's go to the episode.
In here, we pour whiskey, 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 whiskey.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Whiskey Ginger. My guest today is one of my favorite people on earth. I say that for all my guests, but I mean it once again today. It's Steve-O.
Yeah, dude.
It's a pound through the plexi. We're COVID safe. We're COVID safe now through the plexiglass. Although I already had it, but who knows? You think you might have had it, huh?
Well, I know I tested positive for antibodies.
Wild. How long ago?
I mean, it was a while back. It was July.
But you don't remember at all maybe
No,
having
I had no idea. But then again, here's the thing. My fiance, with whom I lay in bed every night,
Didn't get it.
she did not test positive for the antibodies. My editor, who I'm like shoulder to shoulder with in the edit bay all the time, he did not have the antibodies. My, tour manager guy, like who does everything with me, did not. So I just think that as a result of being a scumbag and just welcoming germs and drinking tap water all over the planet, I think I've just built a force field around me. I think I had I got antibodies for COVID, like before there was a COVID.
Yeah, you got pre-COVID COVID?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, I strongly believe that one's immune system is like any muscle in your body that you got to work, you got to keep it working to make it strong.
Right, you got to eat dirt once in a while.
Yeah, and when I was 13 years old in 8th grade, I attended the American School in London, England.
Yeah.
And we went on a week-long field trip to Egypt. They told us, do not drink tap water. Like, period. They said, don't even let them put ice cubes in your drink if you order a soda.
That's like Mexico.
Because the water's just so gnarly.
Yeah.
And they got us all scared, so we weren't drinking tap water. But as we ate at this restaurant on the Nile River, I watched a dude dunk his toothbrush in the Nile and brush his teeth. And I was like, I thought, man, if tap water's bad around here, then what's the fucking Nile?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And like, then I remember thinking, if that guy sitting there brushing his teeth in the Nile went to where I live in England or went to America and drank the tap water, he'd probably get sick.
For sure.
And I made a conscious decision at that age of 13 that I would drink tap water all over the world. Not that I decided I would, but I said if someone went all over the world drinking tap water, that would probably make them like whatever you're used to.
That's true.
So I ended up like with this show called Wild Boys, where we went everywhere.
It's a great show.
Thank you. We went everywhere, and the first thing I always did, whenever we got anywhere, was like I brushed my teeth, coming back from the airport, and I'd think, and I'd gulp, 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 just drink tap water out of the. And I don't think I ever got sick, and I'm just a scumbag, so I don't know.
Yeah, your body's built. Well, dude, I grew up in Chicago, and drinking tap water is not a thing. Nobody talks about it like they do out here. Like out here, they're like, "Oh, tap water." It's like, it's not even a conversation. People just drink out of. You always drank out of the tap, so It wasn't like, "Oh, you're drinking tap water." For us as a kid, getting a drink of water was from any of the faucets in the house.
Right.
Like it wasn't even a weird thing. But in Chicago, the water was good, so I think that was just a part of it. But out here, it's just when I moved out here, the culture of, oh, you're drinking tap water. People look at you like you're crazy.
Right.
But the water's not even that bad out here. There's just this weird idea that it's bad.
I know, and I seem to recall some kind of reporting that tap water is actually like safer to drink. I think that when you're bottling water, certainly like water in the plastic bottles.
Yeah.
There are just so many, too many of. Should those bottles be in the sunlight and get like warm and then
Yeah.
cold again? Like there's just like weird fucked up bacteria. In
Yeah,
them
my wife told me about there's a lot of things for women with breast cancer from plastics and from styrofoam. So when things get heated, those chemicals release,
Yeah.
and they found that it can cause cancer in women.
Right. So I think that there's a strong argument for drinking tap water and not bottled water. If
heard-
not the what do they call it? The plastic island.
Yeah, Plastic Island. yeah.
Jesus.
It's wild, dude. Well, as much as you've traveled the world, and also like just knowing enough about your history a little bit, I should back this up. What's crazy to me is we don't really know each other that well, but we have so many people in common. Like I've known Bam for a long time because we worked with him on Punk'd, and then we became kind of buddies from there.
Cool.
And then I've worked with everyone over at Tremaine Studio and Dick House because I've worked on different shows over there. So it's just been like this. I've been right next to you for a long
Right on,
time,
man.
but it's kind of a trip. And then, when I started seeing you a lot in the stand-up world, it was weird for me because I knew who you were because of that part of what I had loved before I even got to work with those guys. And then seeing you in stand-up, we've always been kind of right near each other.
That's sort of how it is, especially with the comedy club sort of level of comedian. You
Sure.
know, like that's what we do is we chase each other all over around
Right.
the
Yeah, like I see your
track.
name is coming or going right after me
Right,
somewhere.
for sure.
It is kind of a trip to see that. But I also, for you in the stand-up world, like breaking into the stand-up world in the way that you did, I know was more challenging than the traditional,
Well,
I
I mean,
just because people automatically are like,
Sure.
Steve-O this, Steve-O that. That's what everybody
Right.
does with everything.
it's definitely a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing to be able to come into something with an established, like, existing fan base.
Totally. Yeah.
So, but with that said, like, it's a curse to be crossing over from one area of entertainment to another where, you're like, oh, there's a fucking guy, so.
But let me give you my 2 cents about it.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting is like maybe it's maturity, both like in my literal age and in comedy. But when I was young, I remember like big actors would like kind of come and try to do stand up, and I was like super mad about it for some reason. Whether or not I liked them before, I was like, oh, this is like our territory, and I didn't really understand. And then I got older in comedy and in life, and I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. That's not an infringement upon my comedy or my audience. In fact, if you're good, which you are, by the way,
Well, thank you, man.
if you're good and you work hard, all these other bullshit, fake, pre-existing notions, they go away. You go, oh, it doesn't matter. Why do I care where you came from if your work ethic is the same? And so because it is, I think that's why you've earned so much respect is like, look, there's guys that do come in to make a quick, but I mean, I joked on Twitter, Matthew McConaughey said before COVID he was going to do a stand-up tour, having never done stand-up before. And of course, I joked on Twitter, I was like, thank God for the virus. Like, I don't want this guy. I'm like, because it's just like, it's a joke. I don't really care. But also, I think if you put work into it, then everyone will respect it. But if you just go, I'm going to come in and just do my thing, it's hard to get respect in the industry.
Sure. I definitely, and this is like a major regret even of mine that I let myself be so self-conscious about it. Like when for years, because I've been touring, doing stand-up, like consistently touring for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And of course, not during COVID. I still haven't done a show since the pandemic started.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, fuck it, dude.
They suck.
Fuck it.
I did one outside, and I was like, this is a waste of my fucking time.
Right. But in any case, for all those years, like, I was just, promoting dates that I had on social media. And I just, like, wouldn't say, like, I'm going to go do stand-up.
Right.
I'd be like, I'm doing a show or this, like, I was self-conscious because I just was afraid that in the comment section of the post, people would be like, oh, you're fucking...
Right.
Say whatever they're going to say. And, like, it's crazy, like, how I put out this persona of, like, the fearless guy who's unfazed, who's just crazy and doing anything. When in fact, I'm so gripped by fear and such a, like, overly sensitive, hypersensitive pussy.
You're perfect for stand-up then. That's why.
Yeah.
Because everyone in stand-up has this I'm not good enough mentality. The more people I meet, the much higher than me, like at the top, and I feel the same vibe from them, I go, oh, dude, it never goes away. It's not how good you are. It's not how rich you are. It's not how many people you perform for. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be insecurity in it. And there's always a little bit of like, should I do it this way or not? I mean, I have friends that I wouldn't blow up their spot, but famous guys in stand-up who ask you questions that see their vulnerability and you're like, really, dude, you?
Right.
Like, I thought you had it all figured out. But there is no clicking point to when it's like, and in fact, I think if you become someone that's like, whatever.
If anything, then there's like,
You're
the
done.
stakes are higher.
Right.
And so the insecurities are greater.
Way greater. Right. And I think when you become complacent, then you fail, right? Then you disappear from whatever the industry is. It's not just stand-up. It's like when you just go like, I got this in the bag and whatever, well, you're going to get passed up and you're going to fall down this ladder because you're not working on your shit, whatever the craft is. You just kind of fuddle away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it's a crazy deal, dude. And I just love it because I'm an attention whore. I think there's something inherent about like getting on stage and just trying to like, you know, there I don't want to say like self-loathing, but there's something like it's by definition an act of seeking external validation, which is just not it's not a healthy way.
It's extremely unhealthy.
It's extremely unhealthy. Like to get on stage and like, you know, like there's a level of desperation and there's like a built-in, you know, unhealthy thing about it. Not to say all comedians are unhealthy, but
I think all of us have something unhealthy. Something, whether it's look, everybody. You couldn't name one comedian who. And by the way, that's human nature. Who's perfect as a human? We just get to be exposed about it. You know what I mean? Like, our expose is for their entertainment. So it's like, while your local CVS guy that works behind the counter, you just know him as the nice smiley guy behind there. You don't know. We don't know the rest. We have to display it, so we're more victim to people picking it apart. Like you. Not saying you're doing stand-up, just saying I'm doing a show.
Right.
It's just because you're putting it right there for them to go, oh, really, bro? You know?
Right.
Where they don't have the nuts to do that anyway. So, I mean, I'm glad that you're not physically breaking your body as much as you used to, because at some point I think
I really actually am.
You are? Really? Still?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like you, like when you were at the height of doing Wild Boys and stuff? You think it's the same?
I mean, we're like in the process right now of shooting Jackass 4.
I heard about it.
It's fucking, and dude, it's so scary to. I mean, I actually don't even promise myself I'm not gonna even talk about it anymore. But yeah, like there's all kinds of like super high impact stuff going on. And when I started doing stand up, I really thought, okay, like this is something separate. It's something different, and I'm gonna give it everything. I'm gonna establish myself as this different thing, which is a stand-up comedian. And clearly the nature of all of my material was, my life experience. And what I felt was like a cool angle on it was that there was like not even any embellishing really. Like it was just just straight, what I say is, it fucking happened, you know, and I think that you know that. So I mean, like anybody, I think it was evident, like at my shows, that this was like authentic, that it was like true stuff, and I always felt that gave, you know, plus just to the level of shameless that is required to reveal a lot of the stuff that I would include in my act, and so that was my thing. I did it for 5 years, and then I did a special on Showtime. And I just thought, I was convinced that when this special came out on Showtime, anybody who doubted me, anybody who hated on me, anybody just any, like that, everybody would just be, oh, dude, Steve-O's got a special on Showtime. Like, he's established. It's like, you know, he earned his stripe. And the thing was that fucking special came and went, and my life did not change even an iota.
Dude,
Nothing was different.
For most people, it doesn't.
I didn't sell more tickets.
Nope.
I didn't get respect. I didn't get, like, you know, and I remember being like, motherfucker, you know, motherfucker. And there was, from the point when the special came out, or sorry, from the point from when I taped the special to when it came out, I used that time to get into new material, you know, to develop a new act while still falling back on what I knew worked.
Right.
You know, so that, like, I would be ready when the special actually aired. That I would, you know,
Right.
That's kind of like the rule of integrity. Like, once the special comes out, you don't do that material.
Yeah, you got to dump it.
But you've got until it comes out to fall back on it.
Totally.
You know,
Which everybody does ad nauseum. We're all like vomiting the hits until you're like, I've got T- whatever until I gotta
Right.
fucking dump it.
and as I put together that new act, I remember thinking like, all right, you know, fuck it. Here, like, it's gonna be. I'm gonna be even crazier. I'm gonna tell even crazier stories. Like, wow, like, oh, I know, because it was like real sex heavy. My first hour. That my second hour was more like my criminal record and drugs and like just like real fucking heavy stuff. And at one point, while I was putting together that second hour, I thought, fucking hey, man, like all these stories for the most part that I'm telling happened on camera. So what if my next special, I made it straight up multimedia so that you're watching me perform the stand-up comedy, but the actual stories I'm telling have the footage of the stories happening interstitially cut into that. Like, that's never been done, you know? So
Yeah.
nobody else is telling like completely true stories. So here I'm doing this and dude, that was my head exploded when I came up with that idea. And right away, I went about recording my shows and just taking the footage and cutting it together.
Right.
Which I'm embarrassed to admit, up to that point, I just had a visceral reaction to watching footage of me performing stand-up. Couldn't do it, and a lot of comedians can't.
I hate it. It's
Hate
like
it.
my least favorite thing on earth.
Hate it, but it's the most important thing to do.
Yeah, you need to. I mean, listening at the very least. I audio everything, but watching
have
is
to.
way harder than listening.
Right, and
yeah.
you have to watch it.
Yeah,
It's
for
like-
sure. Yeah.
And so, by the virtue of the fact that I recorded my shows and brought them into the computer, and you know, like edited in the footage of the stories that they're being told, like it. Number one, it worked, and I was just thrilled. I was like, oh my god, I'm onto something here. This is huge.
Right.
And number two, it forced me to study the actual performance itself, and all of those things were just like cringe, like, oh my god, I fucking hate it when I do. Why do I do that?
Yeah,
And then
Yeah.
now I begin to address these things.
Totally.
And so it just sped up the progression of my performing, like just so much.
Right.
So I became a better performer, and I had this this completely original take on stand-up comedy where it's multimedia, and I just got jazzed about it. And so I thought, well, let's not have it all be like trip down memory lane. Now let me go film new shit to plug in so that every bit in the show is an old story with old footage, but inspires something completely new, next level, gnarly stunt.
Cool.
And then, so it's like old, new, like throughout the whole thing.
Right.
And then that worked. And then I got like all the whole Jackass gang back together. It was for the first time since our brother Ryan Dunn died.
Yeah.
And got to film this crazy opening sequence where they duct taped me to the side of a billboard truck that's got my name on it and everything. And it was like this beautiful, like symbolic thing. I mean, Knoxville's hitting baseballs at me like way too hard. And they get done like taping me up and torturing me on the side of this truck. And then it's like the truck goes fucking driving off down the highway. It was like symbolically like the Jackass guys sort of like by the virtue of getting together for this comedy special that I did, kind of like signing off on it, you know, like
Yeah.
giving me their blessing, support, like actively supporting me doing it, and then kind of sending me off down the highway on my own. Like the symbolism of that was huge.
That is huge.
And off I go on my own, duct taped to the side of the truck to go do this thing, and that worked great. Like for the final scene, I fucking blew up my living room in my house and had skin grafts on 15% of my body, which is the most brutal, gnarly fucking pain I've ever experienced.
When you have to skin graft, where did they take skin from?
Dead bodies. I had the
Oh,
skin.
you took the cadaver.
I didn't choose it. That's just what they did.
Right.
And they said specifically it was the flesh of 7 different dead people. Whoa. And then they gave me the home addresses of the families of all 7 different dead people so that I could send thank you cards.
Dude, this is a crazy sidebar. I don't want to
It's
stop your
all
flow.
good.
No, but a friend of mine, directed. Did you ever see the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia?
Sure.
Yeah.
Noxel made it.
Yeah. Well, Nitzberg, Julian, who directed it. Do you know
Okay.
him? He was making a doc years ago, and I don't remember if it ever came to fruition, and I don't know. I haven't seen him in a long time. Shout out if you're seeing this, Julian. I ran into him at an airport, and he's like, "What are you working?" I said, "I'm on tour. What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm going to film this family who had just donated their family member's body for science or whatever." And I go, "Oh, that's wild." And he goes, "Yeah, do you know about body brokers?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is." He's like, "Well, there's brokers, like real estate broker, who brokerage people's bodies when they do that. So they literally can sell and broker different pieces of their bodies to different hospitals and different things. So there's a dude's job who's like, Nana's arm's got to go to Oklahoma, and
Right.
her neck's got to go to California."
I wonder if that's because, as I understand it, you sign up for this just by simply checking the box at the DMV, making
saying you're gonna donate.
Donor, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a red dot on your driver's license or something.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So from start to finish, this fucking second comedy special, and I paid for the production of it on my own, but with all of the new footage like that, I shot all of like the vignettes, like the new stunts, the opening sequence with the billboard truck, like and the actual production. I went full tilt, like
Yeah.
You know, it was the one night of filming the 2 shows came to like $125,000. You know that
Seriously?
I paid. Yeah. for
And you had
sure.
no production help on it. It was. I mean, you went all out of pocket.
I did it all out of pocket.
Wow. Are you gonna? And
By
you?
the end, by the time I had it done, like I had spent $250,000 on it, and dude, I didn't fucking ever regret a penny of it.
No. Yeah, it's yours.
And dude, this was my baby. But here's what fucking happened. It was so just chock full of fucking dick and balls, and I was not prepared to like give up one frame
Right.
of my filthy fucking I wasn't gonna censor shit.
Right.
So that ruled it out for any Comedy Central or any
For the most part, cable, right.
And then every place that it could live, like Netflix, HBO, and
Yeah.
even fucking Showtime, they I don't know, now all of a sudden, since my first special came out, there was just so many comedy specials.
Yeah.
Like everybody's vying for they're like. They just don't want a Steve-O comedy special, I couldn't fucking sell it, and it was I'm like, wait, what? This is the most fucking incredible thing I've ever made, and I was just crushed. I was heartbroken, and it took 2 fucking years and thank God for the pandemic, thank God for the virus, because I really got organized and figured it out how to put it out on my own,
Yeah.
on my and. By the time I did the thing where I was duct taped to the actual billboard in Hollywood to promote it,
I saw that. Yeah.
without how expensive that fucking little maneuver was, and by the time I actually, put together the player on my website, I was $300,000 into this project.
Bro, that's insane.
And it was kind of scary, but fucking already doubled my money, dude.
Perfect.
I like,
yeah, because it's your property. You own it. Your fans go directly to you.
I mean, I don't want to sit here and like brag about money. I hate it when people do that, but it's just like something that I'm intensely relieved. I'm satisfied. I'm fucking like straight up proud that because that shit is just good, man.
Well, that's the future, bro. I think when you, I mean, look, Louis kind of set the tone.
He did, and he did that a long fucking time.
A long time ago. Well, because he realized that, look, Louis already had an audience, right? Like you already have an audience. Not to say you don't want more. You want more exposure,
right?
But if people that can give you more exposure are being iffy about it, at some point you have to just be like, well, I'm going to service the people that are already there because I know they'll tell more people anyway.
Right,
and just let it organically grow because you're not starting from zero. You know what I mean? Like you're already deeper on the track. So I think, dude, to be honest with you, I talked to tons of comics in this off season, as I'm calling it, the off season. It's like they've all said the same thing. They want to put out shit on their own because, well, dude, like this podcast, the podcast that we do, all of this is all of us putting it out on our own anyway. We just have this fear that's built into us that's like, don't put it on your own, dude, because soon, and it's like, well, at some point we have to admit we made this shit. Why not take onus of it and go, all right, well then I'm going to put it out and you guys got to come fuck with me directly.
Right.
Which I think is the best way to go about it.
I'm so glad I did. I didn't know how it was going to work out. And,
right.
and like, it was over 2 years went by, where I was just sitting on it. And I'm like, fuck, dude, let me see. It felt like a garage sale. Like, let me just put up a fucking sign in the front yard.
Half off? Just anybody?
See what I can get for it.
Did you, be real with me about that stunt? But when you taped yourself, if people don't know, you should look it up. The photo is beautiful of you taped on was it on Sunset or on Hollywood?
Oh, the
billboard.
That was the billboard that I purchased. It was on Cahuenga. Just north of Hollywood Boulevard.
Hollywood, right.
I mean, dude, the Hollywood sign was like dead straight in the background.
It's a wild picture, man. Did the city clip you a fine for that?
No.
They didn't?
Nothing.
That's wild.
I couldn't fucking believe it. Like, when I climbed up that crane in Hollywood with my inflatable killer whale to protest SeaWorld,
right.
I was trying to like affect positive change, like make a socially conscious statement, and I got the book thrown at me. I was fucking. But then once I buy my own billboard to fucking promote my fucking product for full financial gain, then it's just okay.
You're good.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Isn't that funny? They talk about. I can imagine having that. They have that conversation. They're like, "What's he doing up there?" Like he's protesting SeaWorld, and they're like, "Fuck that guy." Fuck that guy.
I mean, to be fair, like the crane was 150 feet tall. Nobody could tell who, there was no like discerning who it was. And then I was blowing up fireworks, and I mean that one was a little bit aggressive. This one I was much closer to the ground. Like I had paid for the billboard. It said my name. There was no doubt about who it was. I wasn't blowing up any fireworks.
Can you tell me how much the fine was for the SeaWorld one?
What? I remember it costing more for the lawyer.
Well, that's usually what happens, right? Is that you have to have someone go fight the fine.
It was just to get for the retainer for the attorney was well over $20,000 for that.
Dude,
and
just for a little fuck you to SeaWorld.
Right, and then I think it was sort of, if it came down to like really sort of fighting it out in a legal sense, I don't know. I think that the money was better spent on the lawyer, but it was at least like another $12,000 or something for.
Well, it was worth it.
There was a lot of publicity. There's definitely a lot of publicity, and I'm thrilled. And for anybody listening or watching this, I mean, dude, go to my website and just check out the trailer. For this comedy, you have when you click, it says My Gnarly Special, adults only.
Right.
And when you click on it on my website, then a page opens up. It says Like, are you 18 years or older? Like, it's got an age gate. You have to confirm that you're over 18 just to watch the trailer, because it was important to me to make it just super fucked up.
Totally.
And yeah, dude, I'm stoked. So now the next time I come around to do this, I genuinely don't give a fuck if Netflix, if anybody wants, because
What's the difference anymore?
Right, because of the people who streamed it from my website. I charged $9.99 to
That's good.
to stream it. You know, like, I fully, with confidence, believe that I have nothing but purely satisfied customers. You know,
Yeah.
like, fucking A. It's called Gnarly is the name of the special. And like, I believe that I've like, I really delivered something that was worth it to them, you know?
Yeah.
And that when I come around with the next one, that they're going to trust me that I'm going to do the same. And it's going to be even better. And that this whole, you know, sort of stream of storytelling started by you asking or saying that I'm not messing myself up anymore, but totally to the contrary.
You are.
because back when I was pitching the thing to Netflix, the Gnarly special.
Yeah.
They rejected it. I was fucking heartbroken, and I was like, fuck them, fuck everybody. I'm doubling down. And I started building out my third hour, you know, which is my tour I'm on now. And I said, no more fucking memory lane, period. You know, no more like old nothing. It's all going to be 100% new. The hour's called Steve-O's Bucket List. And what it is just like the bottom of the barrel stunts, which were never supposed to happen for lots of good reasons. Like, you know,
Safety? Is that one
I
of them?
mean, there were like some of the things on the bucket list. The vasectomy Olympics, right? Like, I heard a joke when I was a kid. It was, what's the definition of macho? A man who jogs home from his own vasectomy.
Right.
And I was like, oh, dude, I'll do a whole lot more than just fucking jog. And I always had that idea to get a vasectomy and do a bunch of really, like, fucked up stuff. But it was never going to happen. And then I made it happen.
Then it happened.
Yeah. And there's another one with skydiving. People, over the years, they'd always say, like, what do you think? You want to go skydiving? I was like, fucking dude, everybody goes skydiving. That's fucking so not worth, like, doing.
Yeah, it's many people skydive.
Right. So I always said, and I said this for like 20 years, I said, if I ever go skydiving, then, because the first time you do it, you got to have a guy strapped on your back.
Yeah.
I will be butt ass naked
Yeah.
and furiously jacking off, right? And I'll time it so that right as I fall out of that airplane, I'm fucking blasting cum everywhere. I call the idea skyjacking. And I made it happen.
You did it,
I
dude.
swear I fucking pulled it off. And,
Wait a minute. How did you shoot that? How do you shoot that?
Oh, with like 13 cameras.
Yeah,
like
you had to have a
fucking
ton of cameras, huh?
Dude, mounted to the side of the plane. The fucking guy on my back had like 2 GoPros on his wrist. One was wide angle. One,
Right.
you know, like I had a guy. We had fucking 2 guys skydiving with us,
Had to.
following us down.
Right.
We and like it was an airplane full of dudes.
Of course.
And like,
Has to be.
and dude, what was worse, what was crazier than that was that they told us before we go, they said, okay, like, you have to leave the plane like during a very specific window of 2 minutes. Because
Right, you have to jump out, right.
Because if you fall out of the airplane at any other time than this specific 2-minute window, then you're gonna miss the drop zone.
Totally.
So it's like, wait a second, hold on. I gotta fucking time it too. I'm in a fucking airplane full of dudes. Like,
Did you have any inspiration?
I did. I brought a portable DVD player.
I hope so, dude.
Yeah, I brought, dude. I love that whole bit because there's just so many layers to it. Like finding the company, the guy, like it was just so challenging from start to finish.
When you told the dude who has to be strapped to your back, who has to be tandem with you, that you were, what was his response?
Well,
'Cause you're like, look, dude, I'm gonna come and you're gonna be on my back.
dude, we got shot down by like
No shit.
I forget how many fucking. I think we got rejected by like 15 different skydiving companies. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I want an Instagram with my story, and I just said to the fucking on my Instagram story, like, yo, I need a. And this was after we already had this kid, but he wasn't like licensed properly.
He's like, I could take you up there, man.
I said to Instagram, I need a licensed with a tandem license, skydive instructor to do a stunt with. And I just left it at that. I hit up my guy. So my guy the next day, he says, dude, I got 72 licensed tandem skydive instructors.
So how do you choose? By looks? You're like, this guy's cute.
This is my favorite. He says, I got 72 of them. I go, cool. Now tell him the idea.
Now fill them in and see how many stick around.
Right. So guess how many of 72 were down?
72.
No, 20.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought in my head, I was like, these dudes will be like, whatever at this point. Fuck it. 72.
I was absolutely shocked that so much is 20. You don't imagine that much over.
No. You would assume one or two dudes that are just like a little off their rocker. 20 is a fuckload.
And so how do you choose out of the 20? You go for the guy who says, please. Please.
You got it, bro.
Yeah.
You want it, you got it.
And they're geographically convenient too. And the company that he was at held the record for the most naked sky. The most naked.
I was just gonna say
jumps.
there is a group I've seen online that does naked skydiving in Southern California. Was it in San Diego or up here?
It was up near Sacramento.
Okay, there's somebody down there that does it.
They're called Skydance Skydiving.
Okay.
My guy was named Doggo.
Doggo.
And this fucking guy was the best. He was fucking. He said, "Please." He was fucking like, dude couldn't keep his clothes on from the moment we met. Like, he's like, "Oh, dude," he wants to show me his fucking thong he's gonna be wearing. Like, that helped, Like, not only am I butt naked, but the dude on my back's fucking wearing nothing but butt floss.
Oh, so the tandem dude, he's got his floss on when you're on the jump.
He couldn't keep his clothes on for the life of him.
But did he want to do it naked too, or no?
He was just thrilled with his thong. He was really into it.
If he wanted to do it naked, would you have let him? If he was like, I want to be naked.
I mean,
because then you're gonna feel his dick on your butt the whole time.
I did with his thong on. I could feel like his fucking cock and balls were filling my ass crack, dude. Like, it was heavy, dude. It was a beautiful thing.
In here, we pour whiskey.
Hey, 2020 was an interesting year to say the least, and I think a lot of people have some mental health issues that they need to fix, myself included. I've talked pretty candidly on this podcast about mental health, how much I believe in it, and I believe that we all need to do ourselves a favor and get a little bit of help. That's why I recommend BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. That's help with a P, H-E-L-P, BetterHelp. They're incredible. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional online counseling done securely on the internet from the privacy of your own home. All right, start communicating in under 48 hours with a licensed professional. They match you with someone, which I think is incredible. Of course, you can change at any time. You're not locked into anything. And what I really like is it's affordable, which is great because traditional therapy tends to cost a pretty good chunk of money. And financial aid is also available in this world. I do believe in helping yourself out. Please do yourself a favor and don't let things fester for no reason, no matter what it is. BetterHelp is there to help facilitate for you to get back on track or where you want to go. They want you to start living a happier life today, and I really do believe that. You can read a lot of their testimonials online at betterhelp.com/reviews. You can see all the people that have used it, that have vouched for it, that believe in it. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses, and you can schedule weekly phone sessions so you don't have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room like you normally do, chilling out, staring at other people, looking at the highlights magazines. You can do it from the comfort of your own home anywhere, and I strongly recommend it. For the listeners, special offer, 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/whiskey. Okay? That's betterhelp.com/whiskey to get 10% off your first month. Start taking charge of your health with betterhelp.com/whiskey. Support for Whiskey Ginger is brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Big news, Manscaped just released their new cologne scent to help you feel good and smell good all over your body, all right? Who knew smelling this good could feel this good? I sprayed this stuff on my chest. I got to tell you, the old bag was excited. She's like, what'd you use, some new cologne? I said, it's cologne, goof. And yes, it's from Manscaped. It's pretty incredible. It's pretty delicious, along with all the other products that I already use. By the way, I trimmed my face and I trimmed down below using Manscaped literally this morning. Everyone knows Manscaped has that perfect package 3.0 for all your below the waist grooming needs. It doesn't stop there though. This new cologne that's put together by Manscaped is delicious. You know, it's the signature scent. It's the perfect complement to your collection. It's light and approachable and gentlemanly in all the right ways. It's calming and inviting. Be sure to check out the Perfect Package 3.0 with all the essentials for your below-the-waist grooming, including the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer, that crop preserver. Oh, telling you, I love that stuff. And this scent is really good. It actually smells quite good. Better than that Davidoff stuff or Curve for men. You know, it's way better. It's time to feel sexy, look sexy, and smell good. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code WHISKEY20 at manscaped.com. Your balls and your body are going to thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code WHISKEY20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use that code WHISKEY20. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped. A lot of people got credit card debt. A lot. Most of Americans, unfortunately. And if you're in this pool, let me tell you something. Don't be afraid to look at it anymore. You need to take care of it. Last year showed us that you never know what life is going to throw at you. And if you used credit cards to pay off all sorts of unexpected expenses like many people did, you're not alone in that boat. It can be overwhelming to manage. Take control with UPSTART. UPSTART knows exactly how to fix your needs. If you have multiple credit cards, you know that tracking balances and due dates and stuff is very tough. But UPSTART makes things simple with one monthly payment in one place. UPSTART is a fast and easy way to get a personal loan to pay off your debt, all done online. They find smarter rates with trusted partners because they can access more than just your credit score. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate up front for loans from $1,000 to $50,000, okay? This is going to help if you're having trouble with the pockets. Look, if you're in some credit card debt, please do yourself a favor and check out UPSTART. UPSTART's going to help you get back to where you need to go financially. I know it's been a tough time for most people, so you're not alone. Check out UPSTART to help get rid of that, especially if you've got debt coming in from all sorts of angles. Find out how UPSTART can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/whiskey. That's upstart.com/whiskey. Don't forget to use the URL to let them know we sent you. All right? Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/whiskey.
Ginger. I like gingers.
I used to tell a joke about that very thing. Like one of my first televised jokes was about that thing because I had a joke on Adam Devine did a thing called House Party on Comedy Central, and I did one of my first jokes on TV was my dad always jokes how everyone in California is gay. You know, he's like, oh, everyone out there is fucking gay and weird. This is Chicago tough guy thing, you know. And I said, not everybody's gay. That's insane. And I said, I first moved out here and, you know, a guy I knew had a company in Southern California. He was like, want to go skydiving, you know, but you first got to go tandem. And I was like, right, that'll be my luck. The chute won't work. And I'll be 50 feet underground with some guy's dick in my ass. My dad will come to my funeral and be like, I told you he was fucking gay. This is what he went out here to do. But that's so funny that became your reality. That was like one of my first jokes that ever made it to TV, an elongated version of my dad's homophobia about California. Yeah. But of course, by the way, only skydiving naked with dudes nuts on your butt would happen in California. It's like perfect for us here.
I mean,
it's our vibe.
With the power of social media, it was when as soon as I went on Instagram, it was all over. And for that matter, I've asked for some wild ass shit on Instagram. Yeah. Like another one on my bucket list was I wanted to find an anesthesiologist to put an IV in my arm and administer general anesthesia, like pumping in, and I'm on a bicycle. Right? And like, that was, you know, I just wanted to, like, they pump it in and give you about 10 seconds to just fucking haul ass. And, yeah, I pulled that off too. Like, even though they, it was so sketchy, man. It was so sketchy, but like,
Are you wearing a helmet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. 'Cause
Otherwise,
I mean,
you're out.
How else am I gonna get the shot of my face with the GoPro?
Right.
Yeah, but they failed to knock me out. Like, they were nervous that, like, because typically with general anesthesia, what they do is it's called intubating.
Yeah.
You know, they put it to breathe for you.
Yeah.
But that clearly wasn't an option at this point. So they wanted to, like, be pretty sure that I wasn't going to stop breathing. They wanted to knock me out, but not have me stop breathing.
Right. So the amount that they gave you.
So they
Right.
sort of gave me like incremental bits. And it wasn't enough. So I'm a fucking sober drug addict. So it was a little bit fucking weird to be in that situation to begin with. I was comfortable with it because I've had so many different surgeries and sobriety. Like, I think
anesthesia is not an addictive. Is it?
Propofol is wildly. That was one of the first things we learned, was that
Really?
there's an epidemic of abuse of propofol. This is the Michael Jackson drug, you know, like.
Oh, right,
propofol
dude. That's
is
right.
What they put you out with, and apparently in the medical community, like, of any medical professionals that have access to this drug, there is rampant abuse of it.
Really?
Rampant.
Dude, I would have never.
Yeah.
My neighbor's an anesthesiologist. Maybe we'll go head over there.
Ask him about it. Be like, hey, propofol, because that's what we heard that from multiple people. God. And they said, but there's another drug that works very similarly. What's called? Etomidate.
I don't know what that is.
It's another general anesthesia drug. They said etomidate. It basically does the same thing. It works very similarly to propofol, but there's nothing pleasant about it. They said it burns going in your veins. It's super uncomfortable. It makes you nauseous. You'll probably barf. And I was like,
right on.
Fuck yeah.
We'll use that.
Let's get some of that shit.
Give me some of that now.
Yeah, and so I went into it like feeling even more comfortable. You know, like, oh, okay, you know, like my sobriety's not going to be in jeopardy.
Right.
But as it happened, and that, you know, there I am on the bicycle with my jackass buddies on, you know, and they did knock me out, and I was just fucking loaded. Like, I was loaded like as ever, and. You know, I'm fucking all fucked up on drugs and just yelling at people and fucking acting like a douchebag. And they didn't knock me out. And it was really kind of traumatizing because they said nobody would ever use that shit for fun. And I was like, dude, that felt fucking awesome, man. I never felt nauseous. It didn't, like, there's nothing.
Did it make you barf?
No.
What about the pain going in, like the heat going in?
Nothing. There was nothing. It just felt like I was loaded, and I love being loaded. So I remember feeling really kind of traumatized by that, and like, fuck, is my sobriety in question? And I was just like, really, really leaned into my sort of community of sobriety, like people in recovery, like to kind of get me, like,
to get you back.
I mean, this is not to get me back. I didn't go anywhere, but like I was just very, very outspoken and transparent, and like, you know, and I was that way going into it, but. It was and with this bucket list tour, like the footage now comes with me on tour. On the previous tour, it was all just cut in and post.
Right.
Now it's like I tell the story and then I screen.
They're seeing it live.
So the footage is exclusive to the tour, and you see it like you know, you hear it and you see it, and so I go around, I got the Anesthesia bike ride, and people are watching it, and it's just like, all right, so that was a failed bit. But at one stop on the tour, I won't say where, this guy says to me, he says, I know a way that you can get that bit done, and it won't jeopardize your sobriety. He says, I can give you a fucking injection straight into your spinal cavity, and it will render the bottom half of your body paralyzed.
Bro,
It's called like an epidural. Is that what
Yeah,
it's
an
called?
epidural. That's what when women give birth.
This fucking needle was fucking 4 inches long.
Yep.
And so I'm like, all right, cool. I forget why we didn't do that on a bicycle.
Well, I mean,
I think I don't know. But what I did was I went fucking running. He gave it to me, and I was surprised by how far I was able to run. And dude, that was just dark. It was
because you go numb from your waist down.
yeah. I mean, like from there's no buzz. I wasn't
No.
like, in any.
Yeah.
There was on no level was I. It wasn't a sobriety thing, but dude, it was just so fucking creepy, shady, illegal, fucking like awesome. You know? And so this 4-inch needle in my, and this actually happened during the pandemic. So this hasn't. This bit hasn't even been on the road at all. But like what? So I'm fighting for him, and then just I collapsed. And the thing was, as soon as I went down, they told me it was your waist down, but I'm like, I can't feel like all the way to my neck.
Oh,
and I'm just
shit.
like, I can't breathe. I'm fucking freaking the fuck out,
Yeah, dude.
And like the guys are they know that once I'm down, that now their job is to light me up at point blank range with fucking paintballs, with fucking stun guns.
Naturally, yes, that's what happens.
I mean, dude, it was a fascinating thing to see where it's like, I'm just like, it's like shooting a dead body. There's just
nothing.
Yeah, And
How long did it
and then
take
we
until you
smeared
felt it?
ink. We smeared ink all over it.
Oh,
and
shit.
It didn't take in there, so I actually tattooed the fucking ink. But
How long did you start to feel your body again?
it was like 45 minutes, and the whole time I was like, I want this to fucking end. I hate this so bad. I fucking hate it so bad. But yeah, so that'll be whenever I get back to touring,
That'll be
I'll
on the new
actually
special.
have like the anesthesia bit will really pay off now.
What was the one bit that you never got to do that you still are kind of happy, but it's impossible to get done? Is there one that's like you're trying to do it year after year or whatever? It's just
Another
not
one on
working?
the bucket list was to get cauliflower ear at the hands of my favorite UFC legends.
Who? Oh, who specifically do you want to give it
Well,
to?
dude, like, who hasn't tried now? Like, I like Chuck Liddell, we went fucking nuts on my ear, and it just didn't work. Ronda Rousey went
Yeah.
ape shit for like a whole day on my ear, and it didn't happen. Jorge Masvidal fucking put his BMF belt
Yeah.
on it and fucking pounded the belt, and then fucking John Jones took a hammer to it. Fucking still didn't work.
Jesus.
Yeah, so that one, and my girl is pretty actually happy about that.
Yeah. I think so. I think
It wasn't for a lack of effort.
right.
Yeah.
Is she? She's your fiance. So are you getting married soon or no?
I mean,
You doing the pandemic marriage?
no, we're not doing that. And
Yeah, people skip.
For me and my girl, my fiance, she doesn't want to have kids. I don't want to have kids. That's why the
Vasectomy run
Olympics,
worked. Yeah.
That's why that worked so well. But we love animals, and like we want our whole like kind of in lieu of having kids, we want to really just pour ourselves into helping animals. So we're determined to like buy a big property and have sort of an animal sanctuary.
That's cool, man.
And it's like such a like kind of a symbolic and important thing to us that we're waiting to get married like on said property.
Oh, wow.
Like I say, it represents our future.
Yeah.
And now with the world circling the drain the way it is, particularly America,
Yeah. We're having a blast.
I'm triple national. I have 3 passports, and one of them is Canadian
You're Canadian, American, and British.
and British.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at Canada, and you can't even go across the border to fucking check out houses.
Nah. Just to see from afar.
I know.
You check it out.
It's a picture because we're like fucking on the real estate porn all the time, and
Same.
there's one I'm tempted to just buy the fucking thing sight unseen because we're like, that's it.
Where is it at? What part of Canada?
It's British Columbia.
BC's beautiful, man.
Yeah,
I love it up there.
Yeah.
I've talked as much as I've traveled for comedy. I've gone to to Canada. I've said it on this podcast 1,000 times how much I love Canada.
Yeah.
I wish there was more touring up there. Like you can tour,
Right.
you can tour a fair amount. There's a lot of theaters and stuff that you can
Right,
do.
I mean, like the place to, you know, for the comedy club comedian who, like, because there's just that fucking leap, you know, like theaters don't begin where comedy club ends.
Right.
You know, like there's like you can be like selling out everything in the comedy club and just you gotta still jump over a big gap to get to
Yeah.
that theater.
It's a big gap.
I think you can pull theaters though in Canada.
No, I do. I did on this tour that I was supposed to have. I was doing, and I like doing small theaters, but I love doing clubs still. So I was doing both. That was my favorite. The mix of doing still a couple of clubs and then doing small theaters and then going back, to me was like the perfect mix because I don't necessarily like love doing only one kind of venue, and theaters for to some degree they offer the exact same thing. Whereas comedy clubs, the vibe is so different. That's, you know what I mean? There's so many elements about the clubs that can change across the globe. Whereas theaters are kind of theaters no matter where you go.
Wow, I almost think of it almost the other way around. I remember seeing you in Canada at the Just for Laughs festival, but I don't remember
In
which
Montreal.
spot. Was it Montreal?
Yeah, I think it was. Were we in? Did you do Toronto? Did you do Toronto?
I did Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. Like
So maybe it was in Toronto that I saw. I did Vancouver too, though.
well, there
I don't
you
know
go.
which one. Yeah, no. But at those, I play the small theaters, and they're fun. But to me, I don't know, man. There's something about playing these clubs. There's a heartbeat.
What clubs do you like in Canada?
I mean, you know, I have an affinity for Bronson's Room because he started
Okay.
he started me super young. You know,
Edmonton?
yeah. I there's something about that spot.
Was that one the comic strip at the
Comic strip.
Edmonton Mall?
Yeah, Edmonton. Yeah.
And then he's also got Mall of America and
He has that, and he has Phoenix, and he has
right.
well, there's another one
I
they're
like
opening up.
him, man.
He's
I
a good egg.
really like
Yeah,
Rick
he's good people,
Bronson.
man. Yeah, he's good people. He got mad at me because I played a competing club, and but then we went and golfed anyway. I was like, dude, get over it.
yeah.
It just
That happens, dude.
Well, they all know the business of the business, and it is what it is. But you know, they're like family to me.
That happened to me in Tampa.
Yeah,
The,
side splitters or something, or the
Side
improv.
splitters, and then I went into the improv.
Yeah, and they're
but
like,
I was
"Come
like,
on."
you know, it wasn't anything personal at all. It was just that
It's never personal.
in the comedy club world, right? You've got Thursday through Sunday.
Sure.
4 nights. And when you're doing that, you leave LA on fucking
Wednesday.
because you got to be there Thursday morning for press, and then you're flying home on Monday.
Yeah.
Like you're home one day.
Yeah,
And then like I met my girl, and fuck that, dude. So I
Yeah.
just put my foot down finally, and I told my agent, look, no, I'm not doing Thursdays and Sundays anymore.
Yeah,
Fuck
no.
that. I'll do Friday and Saturday.
that's what I do. Yeah,
And then next thing you know, okay, cool. So we'll just send you to bigger clubs. Like, dude, what the fuck did
You're
I
like,
do? that
where
you
was
did?
this, dude?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's what I've found is that you got to really put your foot down.
you just need to tell them what you want. Otherwise, they're like, "You're good, right?" And you're like, "I
Right.
guess, man. Yeah, I didn't know."
Right. So once I got with my girl and I wanted to be home like more than one day a week.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, Side Splitters just wasn't like big enough. The improv's bigger, and so
They
that's
are.
what, you know.
Yeah.
And so let me try to do the same volume of business in 2 nights that I was previously doing in 4 nights.
Is your lady in the business or no?
She is, but
Okay.
she's
Not a comedian or a comic?
oh god no, she's not a comedian.
She's a human being then.
She's a civilian,
Yeah.
stylist, production design,
Cool.
art department,
That's awesome.
wardrobe. Yeah.
This your and your first marriage. You never been married before, have you?
I've never been married before, no.
No, good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still not married, but I have every intention of being married.
I think it's one and the same. I've once you say you are, it's like you are. I guess. What's the difference? It's not
I
like
wear a ring out of respect because I think that it's a fucked up tradition that only a woman should wear an engagement ring. What's that like? What's implied there?
Well, it's weird. I don't wear one at all. I think I'm not a big ring guy at all. I was always like, I don't even, because for me also, I'm not really ceremonial, which maybe is a flaw of mine that like, I kind of like things to happen whenever they happen. So like planning events was never I'm never like a birthday guy
I hate birthdays.
Well, see, I'm not
Can't
ceremonial.
stand holidays.
Yeah, so for me
I
it
don't
was
even
like,
like weekends.
no. Give me
Anything
Mondays and Tuesdays only.
Anything that stops like activity and productivity.
Yeah.
Like I'm generally.
Yeah, so for me it was kind of like I don't not to say I don't believe in the ideas of it, but I think there's so many flawed ideas in it that I did have a hard time, particularly because both of us aren't religious at all. So it was also like it's a weird thing. She grew up around so much religion and then kind of despised it. I am not as negative about it as her. I'm more like, because it has pieces in my life, you know, like especially when you have family members like I'm a child of addiction. So when you learn about what it can do in a different light, you're like, oh, maybe it is kind of positive. You know what I mean? Like my dad has used it in a positive way, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because I only saw church negative being a Catholic kid, and I was like, this is for the birds, man. But I do see that it helps people, so I'm still cool with it. Meanwhile, she's like, nope. she hates all. She's like, it's all trash. It's all bad. So for us, that was kind of the disconnect for the whole like ceremonial thing. That I was like, oh, I have no connection to the, this idea that it is like the blessing of these worlds and all this shit. But
Dude, marriage in a religious context, I don't even.
But and so many people that aren't religious still do the religious thing, and I'm always like, why'd you do that? You don't even.
Is wearing a ring a religious thing?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, binding people together, the inseparable rings. Yeah.
Fuck, man.
But you know what? It looks great.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. No, but no, I'm glad you found your peace and happiness, and you're right though that like you do want to be home more. When you do get on the road too much, you're like, I don't want to fucking do. So going back,
dude, let me ask you this, and I think this this might be like a controversial thing to say.
Sure.
But I'm working on a new book, right? Like one of my proudest accomplishment is got to be my first book, and I just. Super proud of it. I'm working with this writer again. And I was like, I was telling him that the life of a touring comedian, it's fuck that. It's such a grind. It's Groundhog's Day.
It's tough.
It's fucking just with the fucking airport, with the fucking the press, the radio, the hotel, the event, like it's just Groundhog Day, the same shit over and over again. And then the writer said, well, yeah, but isn't it like you love you hate everything except the actual performing? And I said, this is probably a controversial statement, but no, I don't think. I think that. When you're building your new hour, I think there's something deeply satisfying about having an idea, testing it out on stage, working it until it works.
Yeah.
Like there's something like incredibly fulfilling about developing material.
Yeah.
But I think that for the most part, once we get into the cycle of touring, that slows down a whole lot. I think that the material the material will invariably evolve and improve, and there'll be like little things like you'll do a show, it's like, oh man, dude, I did it this way, and that worked really well. But for the most part, you're trapped in a fucking cycle of Groundhog Day, just reeling off the same goddamn script, and it's fucking mind-numbingly fucking.
It certainly can be. I don't think it's controversial. I think the difference is.
I think that once I went further to say, I said I think that any touring comedian that would suggest that they're doing it for the love of the art and not like for money.
Well, that's
like I don't fucking buy it.
Well, no, because it is because if it wasn't about the money, you wouldn't be subject to needing to tour all the time. But that's just the balance. Right. But there's guys that have to do it week after week to make a living, and I credit them big time because I'm just saying from a personal level, I can't do it because it's just. I have depression and anxiety, and that is fucking on full display when when I tour too much, and it's detrimental to my health. I just get
for sure.
I become a fucking shitbag. I'm like mad all the time. I'm annoyed. It's not healthy for me. So, where I agree with you is, I don't think it's healthy. I just think it's just
no lie. It's not a.
It's too hard. And honestly, if you do it because you need the money to tour for 48 weeks. More respect if you can do it. I get people need to get their paper, but I find that if you tour too much, your material at some point doesn't progress because you're kind of just getting through shit at some point. You're like, you're just overwhelming yourself with like a night after night after night after night after night. There's no way you're massaging any material because you're just like, I got to do 2 more shows tonight and then 2 more tomorrow and then I'm on a... Yeah.
I mean, that's
the sentiment, yeah.
That's the point that I'm making. And I remember when I first started touring, I mean, I was shocked that it could be as lucrative as it could be. Because my experience with doing stand-up when I first started was like going to the Laugh Factory on the Sunset Boulevard. And if if you bothered to sign their little form, they would give you like $20.
Right. Yeah.
You know, be like, and I'd be like, you know what? Like, I'm not gonna bother. Like, I don't need to sign the form. I'm cool. You know, I was just like, I would
keep the 20.
Right. Yeah. I would do, and that was just my view of stand up. And then all of a sudden, when when I started getting offers to go out on the road and headline for a weekend, I was like, wait, you can make what?
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
you're gonna pay me money?
Oh my god! I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll go do that. And so, getting into touring initially, I remember thinking like, okay, I've got this, maybe it's the pessimistic, like dark, negative, like headspace. But I was like, I'm not, there's no indication that I'm going to have this opportunity to get paid like this in touring, like for a long time.
Right.
And the last thing I want to do is be in a situation like 10 years from now, whenever, where I'm thinking, fuck, like here I'm I'm all dried up, and like I fucking, why didn't I take advantage of it back then when I had that earnings potential? Right. I was like, dude, this is not the time to be lazy. I'm gonna go out. Fucking every week, book me every week. I'm like, I want more dates. And it was a miserable lifestyle, but I just felt like I really needed to do it, to just work and do it as much as possible while I still had the ability to. Right. And I was always incredibly grateful for the opportunity to do that. And as I described, like, it's a miserable Groundhog's Day life, like, one thing that never changed whatsoever was like how important it was to me to put on as good of a show as I possibly could. Like, that's like, even if I'm reeling off the same act and it's like not a lot changing and I'm in that comfort zone and it's just doing the same thing all the time, at all times I've always been trying to do it as well as I possibly can. Yeah. And then at the end of every single show I've ever done on tour, before I walk off stage, I say I will not go anywhere or do anything until I take a photo with every single one of you guys. Jesus Christ. I do a meet and greet with the entire audience every fucking time. That's masochistic as fuck.
Yeah, dude. You like the pain.
Right. That's masochistic as fuck. But my experience is that when you send people home with a photo, like, they're going to post it. Yeah. They're going to be like, they're going to be like, yeah, I had a fucking great time. Yeah. And then that's the kind of grassroots promotion that keeps you going and building. And,
Absolutely. I mean, it does. I saw people as much as I could, but I enjoyed saying hi. I mean, yeah. I enjoyed it to some degree because it's fun. I mean, occasionally you get, too fucked up and people are being ridiculous and you're like, all right, dude, you got to chill out. You got to have someone help you because they're like, I want another photo. You're like, you got to go, dude. You're being over the top. Like, you can't be that guy. Right. But for the most part, I do enjoy meeting people for the most part, unless it's back to back and you're like, I just don't have enough time if I'm doing a second show. Right. But for the most part, I do. If you're like, still, even fans knowing that you're sober, how many people try to give you shit?
I don't know. I don't have any issue with that.
Because
they could try, like,
People always try to give me shit, and I'm always like, I appreciate the sentiment. I'm not sober. I appreciate the sentiment. Right. Also, I don't know. I don't want to take your shit. I'm sorry. I don't trust people enough to go, okay, cool. I'll just have this. Like so many people, like, can I send you stuff or give you stuff? I'm like, I'll just get it if I need it. I don't know if I just don't want some dude to be like, hey man, I pulled this out of my Levi's. It's like, I don't want this fucking. Yeah. One time a guy literally gave me Coke. I'm not kidding. He goes, just put out your hand. And I knew better to put out my hand, but I thought he was going to shake my hand. So I put out my hand. And he goes, "Open up," and I go, "Why?" And he has Coke and he takes Coke. I'm not kidding. That was like
No
just
bag.
loose in
just
his
basically
in his pocket.
His
Yeah.
pocket was the bag.
Yeah, had Coke, and he just put it in my hand, and he was like, "Is this cool, dude?" And they're laughing, his buddies. I was like, "This is the dumbest shit." And of course, I'm not gonna do that. Like he's like, "Dude, fucking do it." I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna fucking bump pocket Coke in front of my fans."
Right.
So I did. I did it for the bit. No, I did. I was just like, no, of course not. But I just don't want people to give me stuff. That's the only thing about meeting people when they're too fucked up. They want to sit and talk to you about a lot of stuff and engage highly, and you're like, "Hey, man, I want to, but there's like a 1,000 of you. I have to do this too." So that's my only, and that part, by the end of the meet and greets, by the way, when you go back to the hotel, fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
Like that's when I'm like, I'll sleep for a month after I
It's
do
the
meet and
worst.
greets.
Yeah, and I wasn't just like trying to speak up so that I could talk bad about being a touring comedian. And I haven't,
No, I know.
Like the thought process there was, once again, like how helpful it was that touring just stopped, in some respect, I fucking needed a break.
I think everybody did.
I needed a break, and it was really helpful for me to regroup, to start my own podcast,
Yeah.
to figure out the getting the player on my website so that I could distribute my comedy special Gnarly myself, to dude, like with the merch operation that I run from my website. Now, like we took this time to start our own fulfillment center, so I'm not farming it out to a third party fulfillment center.
You're doing all of it.
I got rent a warehouse. I have a warehouse staff. Like,
That's huge.
yeah, it's intense. And
Do you do all your own art, or do you hire outside artists?
no, God, I don't do any art. No, but yeah, like we
I'm always impressed when people do. When they're like, "Yeah, I like making my
know,
own."
dude, I
I'm
don't
like,
do
"What? How do you fucking? I can't do that shit. I can't design anything." I'm like, somebody else has to design it.
Right.
I'm
I have
not
a
good at that
couple-
shit.
Like I always collaborate with my
Sure.
graphics guys, but
Yeah.
I'm not. But yeah, it's just like I've just really like it's been such a. I mean, here I'm talking about this awful fucking thing that happened to the world, but for me, like I've just been really fortunate that I got to just stop and regroup and adapt and like get all this new stuff going. And like honestly, for me personally, 2020 was a great fucking year. I mean, honestly,
That's gonna be the quote of it, Steve-O. 2020 was a great fucking year.
I mean, dude, it truly was.
I do think there's so much negative news about it, and there's so much negativity, which we all understand what's going on. But I do think it did help a lot of people gain emotional ground in different ways. Like I really believe.
I don't know that overall, and in the,
No, not
in the
everybody.
big picture, there wasn't like really. It didn't generally work wonders for mental health.
No, it's still crippling. But I think it did help people learn
Right.
what they value. How about? I think that's
Right.
maybe it. I think people learn what they value more in terms of, about loved ones, or about whether it's husbands or wives or kids or what. I do really believe that it has put more value on what you give a shit about, and going, okay, dude, I'm going to focus on what I
Right.
give a shit about, because there's things you can't control, i.e. this. You can't fucking control it. It's terrible. It's ripped people apart. But at the same time, you're like, well, what can I control? I can control your wife and looking for a future for you. And it's like, you can control these things, and the rest, at some point, you have to let go, because you can't. You're fucked. We're subject to the ocean, dude. It's just like we're on a boat.
Right.
The wave might tip us the fuck over. I hope I'm on the boat still. So, but that being said, I am going to use this episode quote is going to be Steve-O said 2020 was a great fucking.
Good boy. Dude, by all means.
I will.
By all
We
means.
end these episodes. I appreciate you coming
Hey,
through.
dude, thank you,
we
man. My
end these
pleasure.
the same way. I'm going to walk off camera. You look into camera. You say one word or one phrase. Oh, what?
Okay.
Unless wait.
Well, I just wanted to
Oh.
one more time just tell everybody that it would mean the world to me if you could go to my website, stevo.com.
Yes, please do.
Check out my gnarly comedy special, the multimedia fucking fucked up extravaganza that it is. And and my book that I told you
Yes.
about, every copy that I sell at stevo.com is hand signed. So,
Dude, you're a fucking machine with that shit. That's unbelievable.
dude, like in 2020, like as soon as the pandemic came, I was like, fuck, dude, like people can't eat, and it like really like.
Yeah.
So one of the like a bit early on in the pandemic, I went and did this stunt, like doing a front flip off a 3-story building roof into like a 5-foot pool, and it got a photo sequence. So it's like one shot of the building, but I'm there, and there, like
Right.
going down, and signed them, signed like 1,500 copies and sold them for charity.
Oh, that's cool.
Then I turned around and I signed copies of a picture of me on the billboard.
Right.
Like I donated to a food bank, and then I donated to the fire department, and then Tony Hawk and I got together and donated to his skate park project charity.
Yeah.
And then I donated this camper van that I had, and all told, I'm like really. It's douchey to brag about it, but dude, I donated over $600,000 to charity in 2020.
No, so then you shouldn't feel bad saying it was a great year.
Yeah, I don't have to feel bad.
You did the right thing.
Yeah, and it was just like I was able to regroup and adapt and evolve and create new revenue streams and just focus my efforts as well to fundraising for charity. And
Well, dude, honestly, you shouldn't feel bad about it because what you did was great. And look, some people are fortunate that it worked, and this has actually been a growing time. And we need hope too. You know what I mean? We can't always hear negative shit. Like we all need hope. A little bit.
I'm ready to do way more of that shit this year too.
Fuck yeah. Go to stevo.com. We'll link it in the description below. And buy this man's book and watch this man's special. And hopefully when we're back up, if we do get back up soon live, go watch this dude live. I appreciate you. I'm going to walk off. You look in camera, say one word or one phrase, and that'll end the episode.
Right. I'm going to think about this. Fuck it.
In here, we pour whiskey, 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 whiskey.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.